what I've seen, I mean, now is just there's so many prophets. I mean, there's prophets everywhere. There's people enlightened and awakening everywhere. And they're all the same in a sense of they've got this truth, they want to speak it, but nobody's listening to them. And they've got answers and solutions, but nobody hears them. And this is sort of the beginning of attempting to promote all those people who have ideas and solutions and art and beauty that the world doesn't quite know about yet, because they get so many media images on the negative side, and if there was a lot more images on the positive side, everyone just starts thinking that that's the way it is. And so the combined collective consciousness of humanity starts to just outpicture peace in a real sense. And I think everyone at the Peace Forum, everybody was inspired and had that kind of collective thinking of hope and inspiration. And I think when you get a community having that, and I think that's what's missing from a lot of Canadian smaller communities, because it was so resource-based, and the whole administration structure of the bureaucratic money system, the community hasn't found its own creative heart that can build up its own sort of sense of hope and inspiration. I think that's really important, and something that something like Web TV could do, to connect and collect all the voices of the community, put them together, and then everyone goes, holy cow, look at the wealth of the people here. That's what's more important than the wealth of all the resources. But it isn't capitalized because the bureaucratic structures don't even allow the small artist to get ahead. And you got to have 19 10K forms or something just to get a pencil, probably. The artist just goes, screw it, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. No, it wasn't at all. It was born out of trade and function, so it's not the same. But we're coming into some new ideas, so that's pretty exciting too. It's true, like it will change. It's It's just such a puzzling thing. We all crave and deeply adore it, and then yet when it comes, sometimes like fear is a huge factor in it being not completely assimilated into your consciousness, or just maybe not ready, or time is part of that. I mean, it's such an incredibly mystical thing, change itself, and it's taken, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000 years to see the change in humanity now, or what we deem as time. To be able to see like what we've become today, while we're sitting here with a video camera and we're actually recording and mirroring each other to see the capabilities of who we are. It's kind of, it's taken that long. From crucifixion to video cameras. It's a big. It's interesting, It changes. Maybe it'll speed up now, or maybe it'll slow down. I don't know. He made a movie, or no, it was there's a wonderful. There was a really wonderful Italian filmmaker, and he made these really funny movies. And he made one. He made these short films, and it was like this. It was really cute. It was like about a film crew that was filming a piece about Jesus, and so it was about the movie was about the film crew doing this, and they even had Orson Welles in it and stuff. And it was really funny because they had this. The Italian crew would always have these long lunch breaks, and they'd go and they'd drink wine and vino, and then they had the one actor who was one of the stage guys. He ended up having to be played as one of the people crucified on the cross, and he was actually, they put him on the cross, and then they went and they would forget about him. So they'd go on these large lunch breaks, and they'd go and hang out, and then they'd go drink wine, and they'd come back, and the guy was still on the cross, and he was trying to get down, and he couldn't get down, and then they ended up putting him up on the hill, and then they all had their big media opening for the film, and they were all excited and stuff, and then they had a big lunch, and they were sort of listening to them all speak up on the cross, and then they all enjoyed each other, shook each other's hands, and then they all went back to the city, and they forgot about the guys and left them up on the cross. It was really funny that they put it in a modern context, this issue. It was really lovely. And it's worth seeing, actually. I can't remember. They're very obscure, but they're really funny when you watch them. They're like, wow. So that was kind of the crucifixion to video sort of Italian version. It was pretty funny. Oh God. It's about the Deep South. It's about the blacks, and it's about slavery, and it's about the trying and the desperate implication of democracy into a system that was psychologically not ready. It's very good. It's just very, very good. It's very intense. It's actually pretty hard you have to just watch that. It's done wonderfully because they do it almost in theatrical stage play where everything's done with mime, or there's no sets. It's all just done with the characters and the actors, but the issues are so apparent. The reality is so extremely well projected and extremely beautifully. The milieu of these incredible actors are able to create the psychological issue which we're dealing with in racism, and it's really good. It's an excellent piece of cinema. It's just truly lovely. I mean, it gets to the human core. It's worth it.
Changing backdrop.
Oh, you could use the swivel chair. This is your cheap man's crane.
Do you know what amazes me is they spent $100 million on a movie, but just get a camera and shoot, and they can do movies too. Cost is low, and you know what? The content
Quality is
no,
low.
The quality is low, but the content is high in a sense of whatever you're saying. I don't see in movies, and I don't see it on TV. And a lot of conversations I've had with friends are far more interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
So if we start to capture it and start to go like, hey, look, there's another reality out there, and it's just like it's.
Some do. There's plenty of brilliance in cinema, but it's just.
But distribution, I mean, it doesn't
It's
get
distributed. Well, it's also distributed differently throughout different productions as well. Right? I think there's brilliance in different parts of cinema. Not always in writing. That's kind of what we're looking at in mainstream cinema now. It's like the writing itself is not really established. And at one point it was quite sophisticated, although it seems to have dulled down a little bit for now. Or maybe in different ways. It's just used in different ways now. I don't know. It's funny, like maybe it's a bit like an iron. Like things start off in a big clump of loveliness, and then it's ironed out for a while until it sort of maybe becomes something else. It's very interesting. We can metaphorically speak of everything. That's the exciting part about a conversation, is we can always metaphor everything.